social platforms. Algorithmic filtering is an evaluation of data in which users are delivered media that is meant to appeal to their lifestyles. Instead of trying to fight algorithms, it's better to understand how to create content that algorithms are going to push through and boost. In the presentation, you'll be looking at 4 case studies: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and TikTok. First, we're going to look at Facebook.
Hello, everyone. I'm Brandon Hogan, and we're going to be talking about the Facebook algorithm. There's very little official word that comes down telling us how exactly Facebook's algorithm works. For the most part, what we have to work with as people researching Facebook is allegorical evidence. That's why I'm going to be attributing everything that isn't a personal experience of mine to Wallaroo Media. They're an advertising firm that claims to know the Facebook algorithm like the back of its hand. And they do a pretty good job in following and trying to update the more fundamental changes that are made to the algorithm over time. The most widely accepted theory of why the Facebook algorithm exists and changes like it does almost week to week in order to maximize a user's time on the website. It's to maximize the chance that a person on Facebook is there long enough to see advertising. Now, just think about why you get a new notification every time you log in, and then another one just about every 10 to 20 minutes afterward. Most of them are either old news or simply irrelevant, because just by moving your mouse to investigate, Facebook got another second or two out of you. And much of that time, or that much time, multiplied by almost 2 billion monthly users, according to Wallaroo, is great for Facebook's bottom line. To state the obvious, those 2 billion people are the ones affected by what the algorithm does. And that's something close to a fourth of the whole planet's population. So before we get into the specifics of the algorithm, we need to spend a moment talking about the news feed, because that's where the algorithm spends most of its time. On the news feed, by default, each user is presented with a mix of posts and advertisements that the algorithm has tailored to what it believes to be one's needs. In this example, I posted a pitch for a football story in a private Facebook group, and now I'm being served football advertisements as well as actual football-related posts, such as this one right here. Now, according to Waterloo, in 2016, Facebook started rolling out the algorithm that we know today. That's when Facebook began to prioritize posts that it think you'll like, as well as videos and photos for their easy engagement. You may remember a time, probably when you first started on Facebook, that everything you saw was from your friends. That's just not how it is anymore. You get more to look at. So Facebook started giving less coverage to posts with clickbaity words back then as well, which is why we can get poor results on WDBO. It's the page we've been looking at that I manage. That's why we get poor results with posts that contain clickbaity words like share. You can also pay a daily fee to boost your posts, but doing that subjects you to Facebook's advertising rules. And I don't have a picture of this on hand, but once when I tried to boost a post advertising an election for a UCF club, it took me 2 rounds of customer service back and forth to get the advertisement approved because it had the word election in it. It was automatically flagged. But this and Facebook's other filters are a different issue entirely, in my opinion. Personally, between that kind of moderation and what I see on my newsfeed, which is the algorithm, I can't rationally compare the two besides how they're both automated. As far as the future of Facebook, because the website seems to have already gotten the major changes out of the way years ago, back in 2016, like we said, I can really only predict that we'll get more behavior just like this, automated, somewhat out of touch, but efficient enough that Facebook will likely only have to make small tweaks here and there throughout the years to get those extra seconds out of us. Now, you're going to hear a lot of people complain about the inferred dubiousness of being shown certain posts against your will, because everything that a computer does must ultimately be programmed by a person. So trying to bring in a real person, though, to sort something out is going to take you hours, and Facebook just doesn't have that kind of time to spend on every person who uses the website, which is, in the end, quite ironic given how hard it tries to get you to spend your time there. I know it was brief. I hope my part of the presentation was insightful, and I also hope that you learned something new about Facebook. Thank you, and on to the next one.
YouTube. Established in 2005, YouTube is a platform of over 2.29 billion users in 2021. YouTube Users complain, however, that the algorithm is increasingly hard to get in favor of. They say that it is based on title, niche, and thumbnail. So essentially, you're trying to create a title that isn't so much based on your actual content, but what the search gods would favor. The niche, as well, is not what you want to create, but what the algorithm wants you to create. And thumbnails are, well, thumbnails. Catchy and eye grabbing. More and more, there have been pushes toward family-friendly content following controversies such as the 2017 adpocalypse and the 2018 Logan Paul incident, which caused a lot of ad sponsors to pull out. And of course, YouTube as a corporation wants to keep its funding. Users complain that it is incredibly problematic when it comes to fueling extreme opinions of hate and violence. This to say that the algorithm sort of puts you down a rabbit hole of radicalization. So you click on one video, say one anti-vax video, you're watching a Joe Rogan short. Soon you'll find yourself hours deep into that content until it's truly what you believe. This creates obviously a dangerous cycle, and the algorithm does not do much to point people away from dangerous content, but rather spoon feeds it to them in essence. More and more these days, this is incredibly dangerous, but YouTube has yet to pull the plug on its filtering system and instead continues to feed this content to its users. Obviously, especially in the times that we're facing now, this isn't a great way for a platform to proceed, and hopefully YouTube, coming up to over 15 years now, will do something about this.
Twitter is one of the most popular and well-known key platforms. It was established in 2006 and currently has over 69.3 million users as of January 2021. It's been through a vast number of changes throughout the years, but has still managed to remain one of the top social networking platforms. In terms of algorithm, things can get rather tricky. Twitter introduced its algorithm in 2016, and many people still show distaste toward the shift from chronological order to a more personalized array of content. Twitter has an advertising audience of 353 million. Yet, it depends on finding your target audience or specific niche in order to create a community or best advertise yourself, your brand, or the information you wish to spread. Most Twitter users are known for something, whether it be memes, news, business, pop culture, or anything in between. So the algorithm can really affect anyone and everyone. Here's a quick breakdown of the algorithm so you can get a little better idea of how it works. First is recency, breaking news, topics, heavy items that often get pushed to the forefront of the platform. User interests, it shows all of the data that you're interested in, the people you follow, or the things you interact with. Credibility and account details like bio, location, website, follower ratio. Engagement, if you have tweets that have a lot of engagement, retweets, comments, likes, this will push your content to the forefront. And media type, such as images, videos, or GIFs. Digital writers should care about the algorithm if they wish to advertise themselves or their work. Many writers enjoy sharing witty remarks, sharing pieces they're working on, or gaining critique from fellow writers. Following hashtags such as writing community help connect writers to their specific niche in order to help better establish their space within the platform. Twitter is known as one of the fastest ways to circulate information, and many users turn to this platform to add commentary to current events. Anything ranging from pop culture to politics. Twitter's timeline combines real-time tweets and personalized tweets. As a result, the user can see the most recent tweets from the people they follow and see tweets that the algorithm will think that they're most interested in, which is the key difference between Twitter and other key platforms. Though there has been a lot of research about the algorithm, there's still a lot that we don't know today because the platform is ever-changing and ever-growing. However, in regards to viral tweets and common trends, studies show that tweets with more negative sentiments or humor were more likely to be retweeted, especially by the younger generations. Twitter's user base rate is predicted to grow 2.4% in 2021. With that will surely come more updates to the platform. And with the updates will come more algorithm shifts. Though the algorithm is constantly shifting and there are still a lot of unknown factors of this issue, consistency is the most important factor. If you're consistent, you're bound to grow an audience. And if all else fails, you can always post some dark humor or some memes to cater to the younger generation.
So when taking a look at how algorithmic filtering works on TikTok specifically, there are three main facets in TikTok in which you can consume content. You have the Discover page, which shows you whatever is most popular at the moment, whether it be a hashtag, a dance, or an audio. You also have the following page, which shows you content specifically from creators you've already chosen to follow, and then you have the FYP page, the For You page. This algorithm is really special because it essentially puts you into boxes. It puts you into micro genres within the algorithm based off of content that you're already interacting with. Likes, comments, videos you're watching more than once, videos you're skipping by. It takes all that into account and feeds you content that you're more likely to engage with. And what we see is that this often creates virtual echo chambers, right? So a great example of this would be pirate TikTok. Bisexual TikTok and pirate TikTok were two facets of their own. So you had bisexual TikTok with bisexual affirming content, and pirate TikTok of people who were really interested in pirates. And because the algorithm saw there was an overlap in this consumption, a niche was created of pirate TikTok, bisexual people showing off their pirate persona. The reason that this is a virtual echo chamber is because algorithmic filtering can often create virtual echo chambers that validate existing perspectives and interests. Because the algorithm was feeding pirate TikTok to everyone interested in pirate TikTok, it created this false sense of a viral sensation. So, of course, this trend was very popular, but it was not as viral as other mainstream contents. It was simply perceived that way by people within that echo chamber because they were a part of the echo chamber. And because TikTok is able to appeal to both mainstream and alternative subsets of genres in this way, it's also the reason that a lot of people consider it to be the second coming of Tumblr circa 2011. However, there are two very, very important differences and distinctions that we need to name between the two apps. First of all, on Tumblr, you can remain anonymous, and that's not an option here on TikTok. Further than that, on Tumblr, you're only shown content by people that you chose to follow. In that same regard, you could unfollow them, or you could even blacklist specific words in case of trigger warnings. On TikTok, that's not an option. On TikTok, you can either block a person entirely, or you are constantly at risk of being shown content that is that may be very triggering for you because the algorithm picks for you, right? Beyond that, TikTok does have a very intense predator problem. Now, of course, all social media platforms tend to have this problem. However, TikTok's audience is a lot younger than most other social media platforms, with 41% of the users being 16 to 24. And predators know this and take advantage of the app in order to find minors that they can exploit. Community guidelines and regulations do their best to try and prevent this by, banning any sexual content. However, it's not always successful. And the way that the algorithm works is either if you've been banned due to community guidelines violations, it's either going to shadow ban you, meaning your content is not going to be shown to anyone even though you're posting it, and after repeated violations, your account will be taken down. Shadow banning means your account still exists and you are technically uploading content, however, no one is going to see it. At the end of the day, we need to understand that the current crop of social media algorithms is always going to be changing, so algorithmic filtering creates a more unique user experience for the consumer and in turn creates a benchmark for creators to better understand what content is going to be best perceived. There's an actionable steps that creators can take to optimize their posts, and the key is finding a balance between what an algorithm wants and what your audience will engage with. Thank you so much for your attention today. We really hope that you learned a lot about algorithmic filtering.